Hi everybody. Okay, so for this week I'm going to get you to work on a 1-point perspective drawing. So we're sitting here in my kitchen and I walked around my house looking for the best angle in which to set up this demo. And I decided to pick this view because you have a whole bunch of lines that are all converging at some point in the middle of the image. You've got like fridge and cabinets and lights and floorboards that are all converging at a point back there. And so this works pretty well for a 1-point perspective demo. And earlier in the week, I asked, I think last week, I asked students to see if they could source a sheet of cardboard from a cereal box or kind of other like food packaging. And corrugated cardboard does not work as well for this kind of a demo, but basically what I've done is I've taken my cereal box and I've cut out one side of it. The dimensions are 7 inches by 9 inches with a 1-inch border that makes the inside cutout, 5 inches by 7. So 5 by 7. So this is optional. You don't have to show me this, but hopefully this can help you plan out your compositions. Whenever we've tried to draw a still life object, a lot of times, especially when students are new, they are placing an object dead in the center. There's nothing wrong with that. It's got a kind of a symmetrical balance to it, like right here or right there. But it's not the only way to compose an image. So putting something in slightly offset to the side can sometimes be a more dynamic, interesting composition. So if you can make one of these and just keep it in your sketchbook, like you'd make a paper pocket and take this into the back of your sketchbook along with your tonal range scale, then it's another tool to help you plan out how to construct an image and how to plan something out. So when you look at this, and these are the approximate same proportions as most pages in a sketchbook, then you have a whole bunch of things that fall within this image or this frame and a bunch of things that fall outside of it. So this, moving it around, could help you plan out what's going to go inside your drawing. Obviously you can tilt it this way for portrait and this way for landscape. So it's a useful tool to have, and especially when you're looking at a scene like this and then you're trying to plan out, okay, what do I want to capture within my picture plane? Okay, so there's that. And for the demo, the example that I'm going to put into this video and also add into Blackboard, you're going to see that I've decided to orient it vertically. And most landscape drawings and even interior renderings are landscape format because of the width of how we see. Our eyes are oriented this way and not that way, right? And to get a sense of the expanse of space to the left and right, and like when we look at movies, most images that we see are of landscapes are landscape format, whereas a lot of images of people, especially up close, are portrait format. That being said, my example that I decided to make is oriented with this image in portrait format because I just wanted to capture this door frame and the cabinets and as many of those elements vertically as possible, because I just decided that's what would work. But it's totally up to you which way you want to do it. Okay, so what you're going to do is choose a room in your house and not just a room in your house, but one wall or an opening of your house, and look at it straight on, not at an angle, right? So that if you have a wall in front of you, and let's say there's no, like this doorway was closed off, that wall is oriented completely facing you, not at an angle. So that makes it parallel to the picture plane. You're looking at this through your screen, right? And so you imagine your monitor or your phone as a window into this world, and that window is the picture plane. It's like a sheet of glass through which you're viewing this space. And in 1 point perspective, the face of that wall in the back is completely parallel, right? So that's the way you want to orient yourself towards the wall in your house that you are going to use for this demo. And you want to try to choose a wall or a part of your room that has a bunch of box-shaped objects around it to help you develop this skill. So if you have like drawings or photos or windows on the walls, then those will help you create those angles that lead your eye towards the vanishing point. In this case, I have cabinets, which are just boxes, right? And I've got a fridge, and I'm not sure if you can see this down here, but there's this box here, and a garbage can. You could put a table or a chair, as long as they're orientated flat relative to you and not at an angle like this. So everything should be flat facing your viewpoint to help you draw everything in perspective. This has a curve to it, but so you wouldn't, if you were doing this sideways, you may or may not want to draw that curve. You could just draw it straight up and down, because we're trying to just only focus on things that are box shaped. Any kind of clutter here that is not box shaped, you could either take out of your image or just ignore when you're drawing it. You don't have to draw all the objects, just anything that's box shaped, so that it just makes following those perspective rules simpler. So whether or not you want to use this to compose, I think it'll help. But you would hold this up and you would just start sketching in your sketchbook the largest shapes that fall within this image. And somewhere in the background, in the center where all these diagonal lines converge, is the horizon line. So it's like a straight line beyond all these objects, but that's where these lines converge. So if you start sketching out all these objects and you understand that those diagonals are all like the hands of a clock, they all kind of go like this, and then like so any of the diagonals like this, if this object were raised up higher to the same height as the horizon line, then it's going to be perfectly parallel to you. Same with this. If it was raised up, it would be perfectly parallel to the horizon line. It'd be 0 degrees, right? So all those diagonal lines that converge at that vanishing point. Hopefully you're watching it. You watched my video on perspective drawing before this. But they are like the hands of a clock. They all converge at that one point in the middle. And then you start sketching those objects, and you make sure that the vertical edges of the cabinets are all 90 degrees straight up and down, and then the horizontal edges are all at 0 degrees left and right. And you can sketch these lightly at first, but then when you become kind of more confident about exactly where you want it to go, then I encourage you to use a ruler to start mapping things out and make those lines straight and more clean, I guess is the word I was looking for. So one of the terms I used in the previous video is orthographic. So orthographic lines are the vertical and horizontal lines that are parallel and perpendicular to the frame of your image, like the outside edges of your paper or the outside edges of your computer screen. And you keep those edges and those vertical lines straight as possible. If you have a T-square or a set square, which is like the triangularly shaped ruler from a geometry kit, if you have tools like that, or even the edges of a magazine, anything with a straight right angle that can help you to draw those edges as straight and perpendicular as possible. And then you use your ruler to line up any diagonals, the cabinets, the lights, the fridge, they all need to line up to a single point in the center. So this takes a little bit of practice, but I'm going to post another demo on drawing one-point perspective. I hope that it'll make it clear. And I'm going to post my example of how I drew this space using one-point perspective and just lines with no shading, because I just want to make sure that people understand the principles of how to line those things up as clear as possible. You're totally welcome to shade this image if you have time, but that it's optional. And next week we'll step it up a bit and get into two-point perspective. So feel free to contact me with, email me a photo of your image if you're having problems with it, and I'll respond. But I think that if you follow if you just see the sample of how I have a photo of the space and then my line drawing of these objects, ignoring all the things that are not box shaped, right? And making sure that you've oriented things that are sitting parallel to all the other box shaped things and not at an angle, then I think you're gonna be fine. Okay, so that's your exercise for today, and you can submit that for Sunday. And I estimate this should not take more than, I don't know, it's everybody's going to be different, but I'd say 2 to 3 hours maximum should be enough. But please contact me if you find this part confusing. Okay, I'll talk to you later.